Phillip, my man, rocking some St. Louis sports gear today. How you doing, man?
Finally, it only took us 51 years to win the cup, so we got to wear this pride now.
I love that, man. Well, Phillip Vincent is definitely somebody years ago, probably when I met him via InvestorFuse. He's always had his hands in either creative marketing, creative business ideas for his real estate investing career that I've known him. So I'm glad that we got connected more recently. We're re-recording today after some technical difficulties the week before. So hopefully we're even more prepared to add some value for you guys. He's up to some pretty cool stuff. And particularly on this episode, I think we're going to talk about a pretty hot and attractive demographic, a seller to go after that's been successful for Phillip in his long real estate career here.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, give us an idea of kind of your career. I'm interested to hear too. I know that we've talked just business InvestorFuse wise, man, but I would love to hear that whole idea of how you got into real estate and what you're doing now.
Sure. I've been in real estate for 21 years now. I think I'm one of the guys that did this business backwards. I actually started off in new construction when I was 21 years old. So I was doing some infill, a few houses a year. And I realized that I liked the money, but I wasn't very good at what I call the adult babysitting side of contracting, the scheduling. I think if you're only doing a few houses a year or two that you don't really matter in the space, the volume builders are going to the guys that can keep all the different contractors on each week, boom, 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 boom. That's the guys that get the attention. And so I think I worked my way from infill new construction back to wholesaling over a 21-year career. So I think you realize in real estate, if you're going to be in this business, you have to figure out how you're going to make your phone ring. And so, you talk about some creative things that I've been messing around with in the past. I'm always looking for where are the best leads coming from. That's a question I ask myself all the time, where are the best leads coming from? And, I used to think a long time ago that it was foreclosures or it was bank-owned properties or it was, all these things. It's got to be where the best leads are. Auctions, where are these leads coming from? I even like probate leads too. They're good leads. And I think in my quest back in 2011, I've been in real estate for 21 years. And back in 2011, I kind of looked at the 66 houses that were bought that year. And I said, what was it about these houses that was similar? Or what is a generic or stereotypical story that I could say about these houses that we bought? And we kind of came up with this, what I still use today, that the best leads come from somebody that usually just moved into senior living. The adult children of seniors. Mom's been living on her own for 8 years since dad passed away. She's been doing the best she could with the house. She's been on a fixed income. Something just happened to mom again, right? You don't move a healthy mom into senior living. Something like a fall or a surgery or something happens to mom where she can't take care of herself anymore. Now the adult children are trying to figure out where is mom going to get the best care? And then how the heck do we pay for it? And what do we do with all the stuff? And so I help with the house and the stuff. And so that's kind of been how I fell into what I call these pre-probate leads or these senior living leads. People, when they hear senior living, they think I buy senior living communities. That's not what I do. I help the adult children of seniors move mom into the senior living communities.
Very cool, and appreciate the clarification there. I think one thing you do is that's pretty much a mandatory as an entrepreneur, no matter what business you're in. Most of you listening to this are going to be in real estate, obviously, but kind of going back and reviewing, like Phillip was talking about, just like what was like the successful caricature of how you're getting leads. And you can do that in a lot of different aspects of your business. But obviously that's led to Phillip finding it. And I can't remember if we were talking last week or you said another podcast, but the pre-probate, we'll call it, has been your best lead source since 2011, you said?
2011. Yeah,
since 2011.
Clearly the best. It's been so good, Carlos, that I've been keeping it a secret that long. I didn't want anybody else to do this in St. Louis, so I've been keeping this one a secret for myself. I knew I had something good there. And so, times change and now I'm trying to grow this thing nationwide. So now it's like, I got to go out and tell people my secret and show them exactly what I've done. That's the big thing too. You want to talk about senior living, how we talk as real estate investors is not even close to how you talk in the senior living community. That world, it's a very insulated world. It's a very private world. You truly have to care about people. If you don't care about people, it's not something you should mess around with. The people in senior living will see right through the bad actors in the industry.
Love that, man. Well, let's touch on a little bit of all of that. I guess first let's talk about why that has been the best quality of lead source for you, a shade under a decade. What makes it such a great lead? And then let's talk about actually finding them, and then maybe how we can, how someone potentially could partner up with you or work with you on these pre-probate leads nationwide. Because I know you're trying to get your voice out there, and would be powerful to connect you with folks that are listening to this.
Yeah, your first question I think was
why is it the best quality of lead for you since 2011?
When I look for a lead, or you look for a lead, when I say the royal we of us as investors, what I mean is we're looking for people that have motivation and equity. If a person doesn't have motivation or equity, that's not really a real estate lead in my mind. Very rarely do we buy houses from people our age. I know, Carlos, you're younger than me, but you know what I mean? Like, under 60-ish, let's say. I'm 42, you're much younger than me. And so we don't normally buy houses from people our age, unless on the rare occasion we do, but most of the time, we're as investors, we're trying to look for houses where we can add value. And those houses are normally houses that somebody's lived in for a long time that they didn't do the updates on, right? So you've got this perfect storm of, it's not about, I hate to say it's not about the money, because it will come down to the money. But in that moment, when you're moving mom into senior living and you find out that her cost of living just went up exponentially, because you're not going to take her to the dumpy place in town, you're going to take her to the nice senior living community, right? There's this guilt involved with taking mom to senior living. So now you got to figure out a way to pay for it. And mom has a pension, but not a lot of savings. So always it comes down to the house that she bought in 1973 that's got shag carpet from 1973, like these houses that are the ones that we're looking for, the ones that we can add value to. The family in that moment, they're trying to get mom the best care. And so they have to come in from, the average, I think they said the average is adult child lives 400 miles away from mom. Well, if you live 400 miles away from mom, are you going to do a good rehab of that house?
Yeah, definitely not.
You go meet with a real estate agent and they say, step one, clean out the house. That right there is easily a 60-day project. The houses I looked at 3 houses this morning. They're all full of stuff. Life happens. It's like, what do you do with the stuff? So even the stuff could be a non-starter. People are like, I'm never going to get this house retail ready because there's so much work to do on the front end, and I don't even live in this town, right? So I come in as this guy who's going to make a reasonable offer. I want to do what I say, help them with the stuff, help, almost be like a quarterback to unlock this puzzle that they're dealing with as a family. And Carlos, you see the weight get lifted off the family's shoulders. When you do this right, you can really help people and find really good houses to buy. I mean, I take a lot of pride in what I do. And I feel like even if I get a lead from senior living, even if I can't help that person, like buy it, if they're going to say no to my offer, that's fine. But I'm going to give them so much value, because so often these adult children tell me I was not prepared for any of this. There's no manual or book you can take on how to help mom through the senior living process, and so it's one of those things where, like, right now, my mission, if I could just say exactly what my mission is to find the right investors nationwide to work with on these leads, because I truly care about the people side of it. If you don't care about the people side, it's going to be a hard road.
100%. I mean, I think that also rings true, not just with the pre-probate leads, but probate also. Just when a family member's passed, we're kind of in a unprecedented time right now with everything going on nationwide. So, I mean, I think that's a foundational thing, guys. I think that most people listening to this show definitely put people first and try to find fulfillment from their real estate investing careers and try to start with that as a foundation versus, people looking financially. But yeah, Phillip, I couldn't agree with that more. One thing we were talking about last week too, and I think we can hit on a few sides of this because a lot of people may not deal with the seller lead being what was the term? Adult children of an elder.
Yeah.
Adult child. Okay. Now that makes sense. Adult child of children of a senior. But one thing that was appealing or just insight that I think you could talk about is when these folks are moving into senior assisted living centers. I mean, that's what, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. I'm sure there's a large range there. But one of the reasons that these leads were good is because that money that they're getting from the house is not going directly to the adult child. It's more often than not going to pay a recurring monthly expensive fee. So you can maybe get a little better of a deal, not to make it even sound that way in a negative light, but you can get good deals from here because it's not a direct, cash out to the person that you're selling it to. It's going towards another cost that's about to get started.
I think the easiest comparison we can all make is the probate deals, the actual probate where someone's passed away. So if Carlos and I are brothers and mom passes away and a probate is opened, we care about every single dollar that house sells for because it's what's in it for us, right? Me and you are going to split that money. So now we care about every damn dollar because it's what's in it for us. When you put mom into senior living, you hit it right on the head. It's like, okay, so mom gets $2,800 a month in her pension, and we're going to sell this house and we're going to net 89 grand. You start to do, it's kind of like a morbid math that they do where they say, okay, mom can make it 4.5 years, right? And then here's the great part. When mom's money wears out and mom's still alive, that's when Medicaid kicks in. And so I always say to people, with the Medicaid deal, it's like Medicaid's only there for when people are destitute, when they have nothing. So if you have a house that has equity, you're not destitute. You have a house. So Medicaid doesn't want to be in the house business. They want you to turn that back into liquid, and then you're going to spend it on private pay until you're destitute, and that's when Medicaid takes over. And so when you explain that to the family, they realize very quickly that that money is not for them anyway. It's going to mom's care. And so it's a huge mindset shift versus the probate leads. And they're much more fun to work because we're both almost on the same side of the table, like figuring out this problem together. Where on probate it's me versus them, where this is how do I help mom get this money unlocked for her care. It's a huge mindset.
Huge mindset, and like my personality, I feel like a lot of people out there, like that's just something that actually gives you energy versus like, being almost at other ends of the table where you're just trying to get someone down on price, like to the bone to a certain extent versus actually being, like you said, like a quarterback and going in and just trying to serve and add as much value as possible.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and you had some interesting stats I saw just to talk about this demographic of sellers. I think I saw you said 7 out of 10 people over 65 years old will move into assisted living communities. Yeah. So we're kind of hitting on a few different points here of why the quality lead is good, whatever you're willing to share about marketing to these / nationwide partnership we'll talk about. But there's also a reason to believe that there's going to be more and more of these opportunities with that stat that I just said, that 7 to 10 over 65 will move into assisted living. People are living longer these days. So this is definitely something I think is going to be a good lead source moving forward and something that's always going to be around relatively.
I think people talk about what's the next big wave in real estate, and I don't like that term wave at all because waves crash. And I feel like for the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to have these boomers. 10,000 people a day turn 65 is a big stat everybody likes to throw around. But if you think about the volume of 7 out of 10 seniors are going to move into some sort of assisted care before they pass away, I hope everybody understands that means that the opportunity to buy their home is truly before they pass away, these pre-probate leads, right? That's when it's going to happen. They're not going to wait. They're not going to hold on to the house for 4 years while mom lives in senior living. Some will, but most are going to need to unlock that cash pay for mom's care. So us as investors, it's about the timing. I've been in this business 21 years, Carlos, and I'm so tired of the spray and pray models that all these different types of marketing efforts have, like the even direct mail, which is a great way to get leads, but it's still spray and pray that somebody calls you, right? It's touch, then they call you, right? I'm talking about the kind of leads where you can talk to 12 people a month and buy 4 houses because the quality of the lead is so high. I was talking to a guy about a month ago, and he was telling me that he has 5 people on the phone making thousands of calls to try to get down to a few houses to buy. And I'm like, that's a business model, I guess, but it's not one that I want to be a part of.
Definitely not.
It hurts my brain to think about that much effort to get there, right? And if you have conversations with the people at the exact right moment where you're helping them in the exact right moment, you spend so much less time on the waste side of the business. Like if you think about why you got into real estate, it wasn't to be a good phone dialer or be really good at direct mail. It was to buy houses. And I think we make this business so damn hard because every month we start back over at zero with our marketing efforts, right? And if you build with Mom's House, if you build the right relationships, you can continue to have your phone ring month after month, year after year with those people that need to sell their house at that exact right moment. And that's what I'm excited to to teach people about is how do I do that in my own market? I've had success in St. Louis. So how do you make success in Baltimore? How do you make success in Chicago? Well, fortunately, just like in St. Louis, there's how many senior living communities are in your area? They're going up everywhere. And so are you going to position yourself a way to get those leads or not? And for me, people hear this on the surface and they go, okay, Phil, I'll walk into a senior living community tomorrow and I'll put my hand out and I'll build a relationship. And I'm telling you right now, that is not the way it works. Those places are almost like a hospital. You're not going to walk into a surgeon while he's in surgery and hope to get a relationship with the surgeon, right? With senior living, there's ways to talk to them. There's ways to reach them. There's a right way and a wrong way. And I think most people on the service will just end up doing the wrong way. They won't get the results they wanted and they'll quit. And so once again, with the Mom's House training, I want to show people how to have success out of the gate and not have the bumps and bruises that I've had since 2011 on just my bravado and my handshake and my smile going in and trying to figure this out. I can show you systematically how, even if you made 10 to 20 relationships in this industry, you might, and I say this, please know I'm saying this with a straight face, 20 relationships, you might not have to do any other marketing ever again. You could really get that many good, viable houses from just 20 relationships. 20, that's not 200 or thousands or 10,000 pieces of mail or a million phone calls. It's, can you make relationships with the 20 right people? And so that's what I'm showing people how to do.
That sounds like my kind of marketing strategy, not having to talk to a ton of leads, good quality of leads, and just relationship building with a handful of people in your market. The site that Phillip mentioned there was momshouse.com. What's all in there? And this is going to be in the show notes, guys, but what's all in there as far as it relates to you and what you're looking to do?
So with Mom's House, what we're trying to do is find the right investors in every major city. We've built out other nationwide networks of the most investors, like big. That's not what we need for Mom's House. This is really, I heard somebody call it's almost like sensitivity training. So I'm doing these coaching programs once a month where I teach you exactly how to open these channels up in your own market the same way I've done in St. Louis. I want you to be able to do that in your own market. And it's people that have taken the course, they said, Phil, now that I've taken it, I get why you had to create this, because there's so much about the senior living world that we don't know about as real estate investors. And almost immediately when I talk to people, right when they get to the class, day one versus end of day two for the training, how we teach them how to talk, what to say, who to say it to, where to find them. It's like step by step of what works and what doesn't. And so what's on the site is just a survey to kind of talk about who you are as an investor, to see if it's the right fit for you. Sometimes it will be right and sometimes it's not. And so I think the guys there, I hate to cut out the newbies, but I feel like if you just started in real estate, this probably isn't for you, just because it comes down to that trust. And if you're going to walk into a $60 million senior living community to build relationships and you're going to say, I'm the guy that can buy the house, you better be able to be the guy that can buy the house. And so what I'm fearful of is the people that, write the 30-day contract with 30-day evals, and then on the last day they didn't find somebody to buy it, so now they just get out. Well, I can't have that type of investor in my group, right? I want to work with, even if you're doing 10 deals a year, that's fine. It's just, do you want to grow to that 30, 40, 50 deals a year? This could be a way to get there without a marketing budget. That's what's exciting to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I learned a bunch just from checking you out on Jason Lucchese's podcast interview from a month or two ago. And a lot of it's like terminology, like you said, kind of the sensitivity training, working with the adult children, things of that nature. But yeah, and it's interesting. Obviously, like you said, like I'm significantly younger, or not significantly younger. I am younger. I've been in real estate significantly less time. But it's interesting how different lead sources will be more popular. Like our CEO, Dan, when he started wholesaling, I think in like 2009, 2010, his 80-20 of lead source was making offers on REO properties. That's when a lot of stuff was out for like REO rock stars. Obviously, a lot has changed since then and has kind of revolved in different marketing efforts. But yeah, guys, I think this is a great type of demographic of seller to go after, and one that's going to continue to trend up with all these people turning 65 every day, like Phil said. So this is interesting stuff, man. What would you say are some, I know we've talked terminology. I know we've talked, kind of a KPI as far as how many people you'd want to network with. What type of stuff could you share as far as someone that's looking to get into this type of, marketing, the pre-probate, in addition to going to, that's an amazing domain, by the way, momshouse.com, in addition to going online and sending some info your way?
So the question is more about like what will be in the training, like who those people are that we talk to. Is that what you mean in the industry?
More so like what are some good steps someone could find in finding out more info or strategy in marketing to the pre-probate?
Sure. Every community is different. There's private pay communities, and then there's Medicaid facility or communities that are there. Each one of them has different people that work at it. So you've ever bought a new car and you go back and talk to the finance man? Well, some of these private pay communities have a finance director, and he's the one that gives the family the bad news that says, hey, I'm glad you like Senior View or whatever the name of it is, right? I'm using a generic term. I'm glad you like this place, but here's what it costs to live here. And they're just like, whoa, they're the ones giving out the bad news. And so what I teach is there's like 10 different stakeholders in the industry, and each one of them has a different what's in it for me. And so the finance guy, if you ask this loaded question, you say, have you ever had a situation where they want to move mom in, but they can't until they get the house sold? He's going to laugh every single time. He's going to be like, yeah, Phil, every single person that comes through here has that problem. And immediately, you know what just happened there, Carlos? He goes, okay, Phillip fixes that problem, right? Phillip can help me shut this file. Phillip can help me get that house turned into cash, because guess what his bonus is paid off of? People moving into the community. There's placement agents. There's senior elder attorneys. There's proprietors of senior living communities. There's social workers. There's even realtors that have the SRES designation. There's people that have gone out to say, I help seniors. Well, guess what those agents don't want to do? They don't want to work that hard either. If you can be a source for let's just talk about it. I buy a lot of houses that are not retail ready. I didn't say hoarders houses. I like to use the terminology. They were an aggressive collector. They have a lot of stuff, and the family is just overwhelmed. It's one of those moments in life where they are just overwhelmed, and so I'm a solution for that. And so downsizing companies, so finding people in this space is great. That's what I teach you how to do. But each one of those people that I just named off has a very different what's in it for them, and how you find them is different. What you say to them is different. And so I've got scripts and step-by-step instructions of what to do for you to be a tool for that person that actually help them make more money, make their lives easier with the clients that they already have. When you position yourself the right way, they love it, because I'm going to show you how to make you valuable to them.
Very cool. With you on that. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And a lot of this stuff is just, you don't know what you don't know as far as going into working these type of leads. But yeah, man, this sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to check it out. The boot camp that you have on there, is that virtual or in-person boot camp?
Well, I don't want to talk about viruses, but
yeah, crazy.
Well, here's the thing. We did record it in February to be able to show, to do a boot camp virtually. So we've got the video there. We still want to do them in person. If you're like me, I think watching the video and coming to a live boot camp is probably the best way to let it saturate into your head.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we plan on doing them. We're certifying about 10 cities a month right now. So that's going to be under that 20 people in the room. So according to St. Louis County codes right now, we can still be 20 people in the room. But the next one's March 26th and 27th. But at the end of every month, we plan on doing these live boot camps for people to get certified, to get the sensitivity training and learn how to build this model in your own markets, just like I've done here. Awesome.
Well, guys, check out momshouse.com. Phil, I feel like we got a good idea of why this is such a good, lead source for people. And like I said, you don't know what you don't know. So I learned a lot of stuff. And kind of like you said on another interview, this is kind of like the polar opposite of the iBuyer model, where it's literally just numbers built on scale of smaller margins, which is truly like spray and pray. Versus empathetically trying to just add value to a house, whether you get the contract or not. So this is definitely an awesome area to be in. Did you want to end off with any other advice, insight before folks check out momshouse.com?
Sure, Carlos. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. This is one of the rare occasions, I love to say this, that if you're a female in real estate, you would have the advantage, I think, in what I do.
Love that.
And how awesome is that? You know, you've got female listeners, you've got male listeners, but this is one of those times I think females do. Why? Because they care more. I'm being stereotypical when I say that, right? But they usually care more. They have more empathy. They're multitasking with all these different problems going on. Or sometimes as men investors, here's my offer and that's it. You know what I mean? You can't think of a different way. And so if you're in this business and you want to figure out a way to get ongoing leads for free from now on, as long as people get old in your town, you should go to momshouse.com.
Love that. Love that. And I'll definitely share that with some lady boss real estate entrepreneurs I know as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Carlos.
Awesome. Well, check out momshouse.com, guys, and let me know any feedback that you have. And what's the best place to reach out to you, Phil, if it's not the site directly on social or anything?
I'm on Facebook, Phillip Vincent. But yeah, momshouse.com is the best way. I've got my number on there. You can get a hold of me and let's talk. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, check out Phillip Vincent on Facebook, guys. Usually share some good content. Definitely some Sopranos type content. I'm just kind of my reticular activating system. Remembering, that's like my favorite show of all time. I feel like,
Carlos. I'm always having fun, buddy. So,
that's my number one principle in life, man. Have fun. Everything else works itself out from there.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. Check out momshouse.com. Give me a shout and Phil a shout. Any feedback for him?
Thank you.